You actually know that there's something wrong with you when in the most smallest month of the year, it's the month you actually read the most. Hello beautiful bookworms, my name is Katarina and welcome to my channel, and today, as you've seen for the title of this, I'm going to be wrapping up the books that I read in February, which were 4.5. I'm going to talk about 5 books, but let's face it, I finished the later half of the last one already in March, but I mean, we are cheating. Let's just live with it. Also, if you hear some noises, people are working from home, so let's just accept that I don't live alone and move forward with the situation because I am already feeling awkward. So this month I have not read any mangas whatsoever or any comics. I have read actual physical books, which I am actually proud of it. As you know, I obviously say that manga, comics, and everything, they count as books, and they should always count as books, but they are shorter and easier to get through most of the times. So when I can get through some books, even considering that my reading is not being amazing, I am very, very happy about it. So I read 1 classic and then I read 4 fantasy from the same series. Yes, I know, it's not Wheel of Time, because 4 books in the same fantasy series, I mean, it's not that strange, but it's strange. But you will see what I've been reading and hopefully you will like it as well. So the first book that I've read in the month of February, it's a classic, as I've said, and it's Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert. I don't know. I don't speak French, which is a flaw thing of my character. I would love to speak French. I love languages. I speak 4 languages for now. I want to speak more. French is not one of them. I've been trying to learn it. I cannot for the life of me understand it. So I do have a review for this book in which you can go and see my in-depth thoughts on it. I'm going to leave it linked up above as usual. And for those of you that don't know, which you probably know because this book has been around for how long? So this was published in 857. So it's been around for a while. If you don't know what this is about, it's maybe because you don't like classics. And even then, there's been like 2 movies about it. So I'm pretty sure everyone knows what this is about. But in case you don't, this is the story of Madame Bovary, Emma Bovary. Yeah, Emma. Why can't I get her name? I mean, what's my problem with her name? Maybe because Emma is like such an English name, and I know this is French, so it kind of dissociates in my brain. But let's face it, I don't know. So as I was saying, this is the story of Emma Bovary. She is an innocent young woman, and she accepts to be married to this older man. He's a doctor, sort of. One of those doctors that you don't know how they don't kill their patients, because let's face it, he doesn't know a lot about what he's doing, but he's a very humble man. Is like, he really likes her. He wants a family. He wants to be in peace in his life, and he just wants peace and quiet and love. And she marries him because she believes that marriage will be the gateway for her to have a different life that she's used to. She just is the owner, not really the owner, but she's like the one that does everything in her father's house, and she wants more. She wants different. She wants what she's read in books and what she's seen other people. And so she's from a small village, and she has like those Paris ideas, and she thinks that through marrying this man, that's what she's gonna get. But she slowly starts to understand that marriage is not at all what she thought it would be, and so she starts to have affairs, which is not a spoiler. Everybody knows that she starts having affairs, and that's the main point of the story. The question is where it goes, which I'm not going to tell you because that, yes, would be a spoiler. This is a very, very interesting classic. I really enjoyed reading it, and even though I cannot fully say that I agree with the decisions, not in the case of the affair situation, because honestly, even though I really like Mr. Bovary, I mean, we get it. We all have our needs. I have actually a contextualization of how I think about having an affair in this particular situation in my review. So again, go watch it. But I cannot fully understand Emma Bovary, but at the same time, I do think that she kind of represents the things inside ourselves that we don't like. So I think she's a controversial character, and I think this was a very fast-paced and interesting classic. So it's also rather small, so if you want to read some classics, but you think they're all big and monstrous and you could never read it, maybe Madame Bovary? I don't know. And then the next 4 books that I read are all from the same series, and that is the Witcher series. Are we surprised? No. I mean, maybe we're a little surprised since I haven't told anyone in the channel that I was going to read the series, but I mean, I was going to get there eventually since I've read the first 2 short story collections, so I mean, I had to finish the series, hadn't I? So first of all of these books are in Portuguese, so these are Portuguese editions. I've read a lot of Portuguese this month. Correction, I've only read in Portuguese this month. Wow, I'm back to my language. And I'm not really sure of the English titles, so I'm going to try and tell you the English titles of the thing, but if you have any doubts, I read to the 3rd book of the main Witcher series until the 6th book. Those are the books that I'm going to talk here, so if I don't translate them correctly, I'm very sorry. So for those of you that don't know, The Witcher is a big series that is now being adapted by Netflix with Henry Cavill doing the main character, which, yes, perfect casting. And the Witcher series is sort of a very strange series. So you could say that the 3rd book is the first book, but you would be wrong. Or not. I mean, I'm not against that. But normally, to read the Witcher series and have a bit of context of what you're reading, you would have to start in the supposed first book, which is a collection of short stories. That book is The Last Wish, and I have already read it. It must be in a wrap-up somewhere. I'm not sure, but it was a bit of a while ago, maybe 2019. I'm not sure. It was in preparation for the first season of the Netflix show. Then you have The Sword of Destiny, which is the 2nd book, and it's also a collection of short stories, and then you get into the actual novels and the actual series, which is from there on, and it was what I actually read. So after this contextualization, I'm going to talk about what I read. So I read volume 3, which is, I believe, Blood of Elves, and this is a beautiful cover. I do believe this is supposed to be Jaskier, which, I mean, I can see it. Then I'm not really sure about the pronunciation of the 4th book name, but I believe it's The Time of Contempt. If not, please correct me down below. I'm okay with being corrected. I really want to know how to pronounce this. And why don't I know how to pronounce this? Because this was directly translated from the Polish version, which is the original version of The Witcher. I haven't been saying the author's name, by the way, which is Andrzej Sikowski. I have no idea how you say this. This is Polish, and I don't know how to say this. But since this is translated from the original version, I don't have the English translation in here. I only have the Polish version, which I cannot pronounce, and I have no fucking idea what it means. So I think it's The Time of Contempt. If it's not, I'm very sorry. Then volume 5 is The Baptism of Fire. And then finally volume 6, which I actually finished a bit into March, but let's just pretend I did not, and that is The Tower of the Swallow. Swallow? Swallow. Okay, so since these are really hard to hold up, I am going to put them down. So the Witcher series actually follows, as you probably know, a Witcher named Geralt of Rivia. He is someone that specializes in capturing and killing monsters for like money. He's like a mercenary, but he only kills monsters. The fact of the matter is he's a bit of a mutant because he has some elixirs and some magic and some situation that allows him to live longer and to battle against these beasts, and so he's not well seen by the population that seeks his help. And so he has a lot of values battling against each other, and there's some morality put in there, there's ethics discussed, and I really enjoy it. However, I do believe that the Witcher series, although it has the name The Witcher, is not about Geralt. There are other 2 main characters, at least. I mean, I think that you could consider others as main characters, but that is for an in-depth review, which I'm thinking about doing, by the way, because I really love this series. And those 2 other main characters are Yennefer, she is a sorcerer, and Ciri, and she is a very complex character that I don't know how much I can tell you about her because she's probably the actual main character of the series, and I don't want to spoil any of the series for you if you haven't read it, which you probably have because I'm very late to this bandwagon. So basically, there's a relationship between these three characters, and then other characters come into play, and it's about a journey, it's about a country that has wars, it's about politics, it's heavily politic based, it's a little bit historical, it's a little bit of fabulism, it's a little bit of everything, and I absolutely love it. Is it the best fantasy series that I've ever read? I haven't finished it yet, but possibly. It's so great. And I'm saying this as someone that has read some of the best, in my opinion, fantasy series ever. However, to be so consistent throughout, I mean, we all know that I don't believe in rating the books, but because I'm doing a Goodreads kind of rating system to actually know what I've read in each of the months and to try and review all of the books, I have been rating them. And this book series, all of them have 5 stars. And to maintain this consistency of excellent writing style and plot and character development and politics and story is just so fucking difficult. Like, I would never be able to do it, I hope I would one day because I want to write stories, but it's so great. And I think that Sapkowski, or whatever his name is, he's just such a great writer. I don't know how he is like as a person, but as a writer, he has only my respect and admiration because, wow, it's great. It's incredible. I really, I don't know what to tell you. So I'll probably do an in-depth review of The Witcher when I can, possibly when I finish the 7th book, which is supposed to be the end of the actual series, but I do believe that then there's other short story books that actually take you backwards, and it has some of the adventures of the characters in the middle of the books. But when I finish the 7th book, I will probably do an in-depth review because I really love the Witcher series. I think it's great. I think it has a lot of themes that are up for discussion. The narrative style of the Witcher series is incredible because it doesn't have only one narrative style. It has many, and they're all so different, and it keeps me going, it keeps my attention span on, and it's just so amazing. And they're just such short books for the normal of fantasy series that we are used to seeing, and they're so great, and they keep you enthralled, and there's so much content in these books. I think there's a lot of people that don't really enjoy the narration style, and I think that's because the Witcher series, although it is descriptive, is not that descriptive, and although it's telling you a story, it's not actually explaining you everything and every single detail that is happening throughout a lot of time. So you kind of have to figure it out for yourself. You have to connect the dots, you have to understand what's going on, and that means being attentive to what you're reading, and that means enjoying what you're reading. And I think that some people are used to having, and this is not a criticism to YA, okay, because I read a lot of YA, but I think that a lot of people are used to have, even in their adult fantasy, things explained to them. And The Witcher does not explain things to you. It just throws you into the thing and expects you to understand it, which I know it can be a little bit strange for some people and they might not enjoy it, but I do. I love it so much. I love when writers trust me enough to actually understand what the fuck they're doing. Because that means that they don't think I'm dumb, and that means that they don't write dumbish, and that they leave clues, and that you have to figure them out. And I think that that's exciting, to have fun with your fantasy series, to be so involved in the world that you are questioning, wait, when did this happen? Did this happen before this? And do you know that meme of the dude that has like that board behind him, and he has a lot of things connecting, and he's like this? That was me reading the entirety of The Witcher, and it was so good. Like, all of the theories. And then they tell you like, oh, because someone is dead, and you're like, what? How are they dead? I haven't seen this. And it's like, no, they're not, bitch. Or are they? And it's another time. And it's so cool. And I am unraveling. I'm sorry. I really like the Witcher series, and I think that if you never read it, you should. You should. It's great. It's really great. So that's going to be all for this wrap up. That was actually everything that I've read in the month of February. I'm very proud of myself. but they were also very fast-paced and very easy reads to read. Also, I just wanted to point out that for the Witcher series, you can very much see it's not an American fantasy. For the way of the narration, it's completely different of everything that I've read, and I think that that adds to me wanting to know more, because I am used to one type of writing and suddenly there's another type of writing, and I've never thought that this type of writing would be so amazing, and I'm glad it is. Go Polish authors! I want to read more Polish authors. More. Because if they're all like this, chef's kiss, divine. So as I was saying, this was all that I read for this month. I hope that you guys enjoy this wrap-up. If you know any of these books, you'll probably know them. Tell me something in the comments down below if you've read them, if you want to, and if you have different opinions than mine, because that's valid, that's cool, and I want to know them as well. Also expect an in-depth review of the Witcher series. Like, seriously, I'm gonna do it. If you don't want it, tell me, and I'll probably still do it. That's how much I love this series. So that's going to be all for today, and happy readings to you all. Bye!